Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take the vast, chaotic sea of information and chart a clear, navigable course for you.
Today, we are strapping in to examine something that feels both ancient and at the same time absolutely cutting edge.
The email newsletter, it's the internet's most durable workhorse, and right now it's undergoing this massive infrastructure-led renaissance.
That's exactly right. We are deep diving into the quiet resilience of email, and we're framing it through the rise of a platform that is completely redefining its infrastructure, a platform called Beehiiv.
And the sources we've pulled together for this are just fascinating. They give us this remarkably detailed look at a critical structural shift that's happening right now in the creator economy.
It's not just a trend. I mean, this is a fundamental migration, a real movement.
And that migration is away from what our sources so brilliantly label algorithmic feudalism. I just think that term is perfect for social media.
It really is.
It implies that you're building your entire livelihood on land you don't actually own. You're subject to the whims of the platform's monarch, the algorithm.
Precisely. And the shift is toward what they call owned audiences. So think of it this way. It's like going from renting a tiny apartment in a noisy, crowded city.
Where the landlord can change the lock at any moment.
Or raise the rent without notice, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're moving from that to owning your own fortress on solid ground. You control the front gate, the visitor list, the whole monetization strategy. It's all yours.
The stakes here are enormous. And to help you, the learner, really understand this transition, we've synthesized a massive stack of sources.
We have technical deep dives into how platforms like Beehiiv actually work under the hood. We have these compelling founder stories that reveal the motivation behind this whole infrastructural leap.
And we have the hard numbers, growth metrics from Q3 2025 that show real market dominance, and maybe the most interesting part of all this, a detailed philosophical comparison of the AI strategies.
Right, between Beehiiv and its key competitor, Substack.
And we're not just looking at features here, are we? We're looking at fundamentally different business models. This deep dive is really all about that structural insight.
Oh.
So here is our three-part mission for this deep dive. First, we're going to unpack in detail why email has remained the bedrock layer of the entire internet, why it just refuses to die.
Second, we'll analyze how Beehiiv is acting as the definitive Shopify for newsletters. It's a complete infrastructure play that provides the tools to turn a newsletter into a thriving, independent media business.
And finally, we'll explore how AI is transforming content creation. We'll look at how it's shifting from, just an assistant role today into a fully predictive co-pilot by 2030, and what the implications of that radical change really are.
It's a profound study in durability meeting innovation. So let's start with the one technology everyone keeps writing off, the digital communication standard that is now, over 5 decades old?
It's incredible. Okay, let's unpack this paradox of durability. Email was supposed to die about 10 times over the last 20 years.
At least.
It was supposed to be replaced by instant messaging, then decimated by the rise of Facebook and Twitter, and then, ultimately made irrelevant by disappearing stories on Instagram.
Right.
Yet here we are in late 2025, and it's not just alive, it's thriving. It is, according to all our sources, the bedrock layer of digital communication. Why has this one technology defied the gravity of obsolescence?
It's a striking fact, and the reason for this longevity, I think, is that email solved a fundamental human problem: how we exchange asynchronous, persistent messages over machines.
Asynchronous being the key word there.
It's critical. And it solved this years before the World Wide Web even existed. It didn't emerge from a platform. It emerged from a raw need for cross-network communication.
Tell us about those historical anchors, because it's so easy to forget just how fundamental email is to the internet's deep DNA. We need to ground ourselves in that history to really get it.
Okay, so the earliest roots trace way back to 1965. You had these early messaging systems that allowed users of shared mainframe computers, like MIT's CTSS system, to leave messages for each other.
It was internal, really limited.
Very limited, but it proved the utility of digital messaging. But the critical foundational turning point, the moment that created the standard we recognize today, was in 1971.
That's the legendary moment with Ray Tomlinson.
Yes, Ray Tomlinson. He was working on the ARPANET, and he needed a way to differentiate a message intended for a local mailbox from one that was destined for a remote computer.
So how did he solve that?
He sent the very first message between physically separate computers, but the real innovation, the genius of it, was introducing the iconic @ symbol. He picked it because it was so rarely used in names or commands, and it logically separated the user, the name, from the host, the location.
That little @ symbol is older than the web browser itself. It's incredible. It codified identity and location in a decentralized, networked world. It's the original unique digital address.
Exactly. And by 1972, the system already had core features we rely on today: the ability to reply, to forward, to maintain message lists. This standard was adopted across all the various academic and military networks of the time.
And this all happened nearly 2 decades before Tim Berners-Lee's first browser, Mosaic, would even appear in 1993.
That's right. Email wasn't a novelty. It was the essential nervous system of early digital collaboration. It was connecting institutions throughout the 70s and 80s. It was infrastructural from day one, not built for entertainment or sleeting social connection.
So it was fundamentally about work and persistence. But for decades, it was confined primarily to academics and, big corporate environments. How did it cross over and become this global essential habit for the masses?
That transition really happened in two major defining waves during the web era. The first big one was in 1996 with Hotmail.
Right. Before Hotmail, if you wanted email, you were usually tied to a university or you had a paid ISP account like AOL.
Exactly. Hotmail was revolutionary because it was the first major free web-based email service.
Free email accessible from anywhere. That was a complete game changer.
It was. You could access your inbox from any browser anywhere in the world. It completely freed email from the confines of a specific desktop computer or an institutional server.
Even the name itself, Hotmail, with the capitalized letters spelling HTML, it symbolized email's marriage to the burgeoning World Wide Web.
It did. And then its acquisition by Microsoft the following year for at the time, massive $400 million just accelerated that ubiquity. It turned a niche service into a global standard almost overnight.
Okay, so that's the first wave. What was the second?
The second, and arguably the more defining wave, was Gmail in 2004. It launched as this invite-only beta, and it felt like something straight out of science fiction.
I remember that. People thought it was an April Fool's joke.
They did. Because while competitors were still rationing storage, offering users maybe 5 or 10 megabytes, Gmail gave users a staggering 1 gigabyte.
Which was about 500 times the norm, an unprecedented amount of digital real estate.
It was strategically brilliant. But Gmail didn't just offer storage. It introduced instant, powerful search capabilities and critically threaded conversations.
That was huge.
It transformed email from a static collection of chronological messages into a searchable, living archive. It became the backbone of modern digital identity. I mean, by 2025, Gmail has 1.8 billion monthly users. It's the foundational identity infrastructure. It's the thing you use to log into everything else.
So it survived by being both fundamental and adaptable. Now let's talk about the survival against social media. For years, we were told Facebook and Twitter would make email obsolete. They promised immediacy, connection, virality.
Like the new town square.
But email didn't just stick around, it doubled down on its utility. Why did social media fail to kill the inbox?
Because social media offers rented attention in what our sources call loud algorithmic megacities.
I love that phrase.
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're competing with thousands of other signals, and your reach is entirely dictated by a platform's opaque algorithm. An algorithm designed to maximize ad views, not your success as a creator.
Whereas email is a private railroad. It's an owned audience list.
It's the difference between shouting into a crowded stadium and whispering directly into someone's ear.
That's a great way to put it.
Emails arrive directly. They persist in a dedicated space, the inbox, rather than just disappearing into a fleeting feed. And crucially, that audience list is owned by you, the creator. If Facebook changes its feed or, Twitter goes offline...
Which is not an abstract concept these days.
Not at all. Your audience connection remains intact. That is the ultimate structural resilience.
And this is where we hit the data point that separates the noise from the statistics on return on investment. This is the structural argument that just absolutely shuts down anyone who says email is old news.
The numbers are staggering. They're fundamental to the digital economy. Email marketing delivers roughly $36 in ROI for every single dollar spent.
$36.
36. This isn't a slight edge, it's a massive, massive multiplier. Now, compare that to the major social media platforms. They average closer to maybe $2 or $3 in ROI for every dollar you invest.
That is an astronomical delta. But I have to ask the critical question here. Is that figure skewed by massive corporate campaigns? I mean, does the average one-person newsletter creator just starting out really see that kind of return? Or is that a deceptive industry average that kind of hides how hard it is to monetize?
That's a vital critical challenge to make. And while, yes, massive enterprises certainly inflate that average, the high ROI remains consistent across scale.
Mm.
And the reason is the fundamental nature of the transaction.
What do you mean?
You're dealing with a permission relationship. A subscriber invited you into their inbox. That's a high-intent space. They're not passively scrolling through a feed. They're actively managing their time and their attention.
That intent is what drives the high conversion rate.
And thus the massive ROI. You completely bypass the algorithmic scarcity that's built into all the social platforms.
So even if my personal newsletter ROI is, say, $15, that's still 5 times better than the average return I'd get trying to advertise or promote through a rented social channel.
Exactly. The calculation is that email is 40 times more effective at customer acquisition than Facebook and Twitter combined.
40 times.
The core difference is this. Social media is a megaphone. You use it for broad awareness. Email is a handshake. You use it for conversion and for trust. It respects asynchrony. It doesn't demand urgent reactive responses. It allows humans to think, to absorb, and to act deliberately.
It's your permanent digital address in a world that's just obsessed with moving targets and fleeting trends. Over 90% of adults aged 25-64 use email regularly. And critically, they use it to drive action purchases, signups, downloads. Social media often just generates passive awareness.
So in short, email's resilience rests on 3 enduring structural truths. First, universality. Anyone can reach anyone. Second, ownership. No algorithm mediates the relationship, which secures the creator's livelihood. And third, adaptability. It continually evolves with new features like AI without ever breaking its core functionality. It is the most durable, reliable communication standard in digital history.
And this durability is the fuel behind the engine of email's renaissance, the newsletter boom. We're talking about a massive, dedicated shift in how creators view their own distribution channels.
The newsletter boom is the most visible and financially significant part of email's resurgence. It's where that high signal owned relationship is being formalized and, monetized at scale.
We're seeing major financial confidence here. The data from 2025 shows a really clear trend. A quarter of creators report significant newsletter revenue growth, and 45% expect that increase to continue in the near future. That is a massive signal of professionalization.
It is the creator imperative in action. They are actively moving from that algorithmic feudalism toward own audiences. And this shift is so critical because creators are finally realizing that if they do not control their distribution infrastructure, they do not control their destiny.
It's the most important lesson of the last decade, isn't it? Platforms change their rules, your subscriber list does not. And we have to mention this shocking data point about traffic authenticity. This justifies the move to own channels and high-trust relationships even further. It suggests that even the traffic numbers we see online are, well, less reliable than we've ever thought.
The source material highlights a crucial, sometimes hidden, reality. As of early 2025, up to 70% of newsletter clicks originate from automated systems.
Wait, 70%. That means automated systems bots, corporate security scanners, email client prefetchers are often the majority source of reported traffic.
That's exactly what it means. When a publisher sends an email, many corporate networks, security providers, and even inbox providers like Apple Mail, they scan or prefetch the links in the email. They're checking for malicious content or trying to optimize loading speed.
And those automated actions all register as clicks.
Every single one. This means that a pure high volume of clicks is very easily inflated or even faked, regardless of the publisher's intent.
That statistic is wild. 70% automated clicks. It confirms that the value isn't in the click, which can be fake or automated. It's in the retention. It's in the relationship. The only thing that really matters is genuine human engagement and trust.
So the perceived signal of a newsletter, therefore, shifts from just noise to a ritual. It's a high-signal channel based on that trust and repeat engagement where the creator and reader have a clear asynchronous agreement.
I will provide you value, and you will allocate dedicated attention to it.
Precisely. And that high-trust channel is now being amplified and accelerated by infrastructure like Beehiiv.
Okay, this brings us squarely to Beehiiv. If newsletters are the new private railroads built on owned audience lists, then Beehiiv is the platform that is laying the traps, building the stations, and engineering the monetization systems.
That's perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Our sources define it very clearly as infrastructure. It is purpose-built for this newsletter economy, optimized for ownership, growth, and monetization.
And we have to make the crucial distinction here right at the outset. Beehiiv is not just a modern iteration of a general email platform, like an evolution of MailChimp or ConvertKit.
No, not at all. Those platforms evolved to serve businesses running campaigns, sales funnels, one-off marketing blasts. Beehiiv was designed from first principles around the specific needs of a newsletter as a media product.
Their core philosophical stance seems to be that newsletters are not marketing artifacts. They are businesses. They are mini media companies. They require a complete operating system, not just a tool to send emails.
And that ambition to serve the professional creator is reflected in its key feature stack. It integrates what used to require, half a dozen stitched-together tools, a setup which, as we'll discuss, caused their founders intense frustration.
Let's dive into that stack because this is the operational advantage they're offering. First, what are the crucial differentiators on the technical side?
Okay, so the editor is polished and intuitive, sure, but you have to look deeper at the delivery metrics. They offer unlimited email sends.
That's a game-changing differentiator for high-volume publishers.
It's massive. Traditional email service providers, or ESPs, they charge based on subscriber count and volume. So as your audience scales, say, past 100,000 or 500,000 subscribers, the operational cost becomes prohibitive. It can actually cripple a small media business.
So by offering unlimited sends on their higher tiers, Beehiiv is fundamentally changing the economics of scaling a large newsletter.
They're de-risking growth. The creator can focus on growing their audience without the anxiety of a massive escalating bill every single month.
Okay, so that's delivery. What else?
Beyond delivery, they provide the entire front end, a no-code website builder that is optimized from the ground up for SEO and mobile experience. And they offer advanced audience analytics and segmentation tools that go far beyond just simple open rates.
And the growth tools are native. I saw that. Referral programs and recommendation networks are built right into the platform. You don't need a third-party tool like Referral Candy or something.
Correct. Native referral programs are critical for organic, low-cost growth. They track, manage, and deliver incentives automatically, fostering virality within the existing high-trust audience.
And monetization is fully built in. You've got a native ad network and paid subscriptions.
Plus the AI writing tools we'll detail later, email automations for things like welcome series and re-engaging lapsed subscribers, and seamless integration with the existing business ecosystem. Stripe for payments, Zapier for workflow, Google Analytics, leading CRMs.
This functional completeness is why that analogy works so well. Think of Beehiiv less as Substack with more features and more as Shopify for newsletters.
Exactly. Shopify provides the infrastructure for an e-commerce business to exist and scale. Beehiiv provides the operating system for a media business to exist and scale. It assumes creator ambition and provides the full ecosystem.
Okay, let's talk about the lineage, because this is where the foundational credibility comes from. The founders of Beehiiv weren't just some random Silicon Valley engineers. They were forged in the furnace of a massive, modern newsletter success story.
Morning Brew.
Morning Brew. They saw exactly how the sausage was made.
That's the critical context. The company was founded by Tyler Dank, who's the CEO, alongside Benjamin Hargett and Jacob Hurd. All three of them were early architects and foundational team members at Morning Brew.
Tyler Dank specifically was the second employee there. He started way back in 2017. He was a utility player, wearing every hat: product, growth, engineering, and he was instrumental in designing the proprietary systems that scaled that platform.
He helped design the specific referral engine and the advanced analytics systems that drove Morning Brew from 100,000 to over 3 million subscribers before its acquisition in 2020. Hargett was Morning Brew's first full-time engineer, and Hurd, the fourth engineer, specialized specifically in newsletter infrastructure at that massive scale.
So these guys didn't just understand newsletters, they understood the unfair advantages that proprietary custom-built infrastructure gives you when you hit critical mass. They knew the secret blueprint of success.
And that's exactly where the origin story of Beehiiv begins. It was born from a deep, shared frustration that we might call the stitch tax.
The stitch tax, I like that.
At Morning Brew, they had elite custom-built tools, but they watched the rest of the creator world trying to run their nascent media businesses by stitching together WordPress for the website, MailChimp or ConvertKit for sending, Airtable for managing the list, Stripe for payments.
And prayer for keeping it all connected.
And prayer, exactly. That setup is just prone to failure, technical debt, and massive time sinks, isn't it? Every time one of those platforms updates its API, the whole system potentially breaks down.
It inevitably leads to stalled growth and creator burnout. They were trying to build a finely tuned sports car using mismatched parts from a junkyard.
That's a great way to put it. Their custom morning brew tools, for instance, had sophisticated dynamic ad insertion logic and extremely granular segmentation that allowed them to test subject lines based on minute open time differences. None of that was available to the average creator.
So their radical goal then was to democratize that elite newsletter infrastructure.
Yes, they wanted to build a system that offered all the benefits of those custom tools, the speed, the analytics, the seamless growth, but without the high entry cost, the algorithms, the gatekeepers, or the dependency on big tech's mood swings.
And they did this quietly, in the shadows, for almost a year, which really proves their dedication and belief.
They bootstrapped the minimum viable product, the MVP, for 10 months, building it entirely on nights and weekends, sometimes spending random Saturdays locked in a room in Brooklyn, just hacking on the core platform.
And then they launched officially on November 17th, 2021, via a single tweet after raising a $2.6 million seed round pretty quickly that July.
And that seed round included some really high-profile strategic investors. Social Leverage and 35 Ventures, that's Kevin Durant's firm, which speaks volumes about the immediate resonance of their vision. They clearly struck a nerve with people who understood what the creator economy actually needed.
But their journey wasn't without tragedy. It faced a profound and heartbreaking challenge early on that really underscored the human element in their mission.
Yeah. Andrew Platkin, who was an early morning brew mentor and the newly appointed CTO after that seed round, he passed away suddenly on April 29, 2022.
That is just a devastating loss, not only emotionally, but also operationally for a nascent, high-growth startup that's relying on its core technical leadership.
The team faltered, but they didn't fracture. They addressed the tragedy with profound resilience and dedication. They accelerated his equity and made his mother a shareholder, which cemented this renewed sense of purpose that really propelled the company forward.
So it became less about just building a cool tool.
And more about honoring the mission to build something truly durable and meaningful for the community.
Let's jump from that foundational resilience to the metrics of scale by Q3 2025, because this shows their market dominance and why they're succeeding, where massive platforms like Twitter's Review or Facebook's Bulletin completely failed.
Infrastructure built by people who understand the problem tends to win. And the numbers are impressive. They illustrate rapid, focused growth. Over 130,000 publishers are now using the platform, and collectively they're sending over 46 billion emails.
46 billion.
That represents a total reach of 425 million unique readers worldwide. And critically, creators using the platform have collectively earned over $45 million through Beehiiv's monetization tools.
And we're seeing major validation, not just in volume, but in the user profile. High-profile brands and creators like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the podcast The Old Man and the Three with JJ Redick, and the creator economy observers Colin and Samir. This isn't just for hobbyists. This is infrastructure for established, ambitious media brands.
Exactly. And the financial health of the company is a strong contrarian signal in a world defined by that growth at all costs mentality. Beehiiv reached $30 million in annual recurring revenue by mid-2025.
And that's up significantly from $19.8 million at the end of 2024, serving over 90,000 paying customers.
What's fascinating here is that they chose profitability over reckless scale. That's so rare for a venture-backed SaaS company. They hit profitability back in April 2023.
And that strategic choice, sustainability over reckless scale, it defined their trajectory, and it must have boosted investor confidence significantly.
It did. It led to major funding rounds like the $12.5 million Series A in May 2023, which they raised in under a week, and the subsequent $33 million Series B led by NEA. Their valuation now stands around $225 million, and it's built on a healthy, diversified revenue composition.
Let's break down that revenue. So about $20 million from software subscriptions and the remaining $10 million from their ad network and monetization tools. Why is that specific composition so important?
It's crucial because it reinforces the creator-aligned incentive. The subscription fee pays for the infrastructure, the speed, the analytics, the engineering team, the unlimited sends. The ad revenue demonstrates the platform's ability to create additional passive revenue streams for the creator and for Beehiiv at the same time. They're now processing 800 million monthly ad impressions through that ad network.
And this leads us to the key differentiator in their monetization philosophy. Beehiiv takes 0% commission on paid subscriptions on their higher tiers. This directly addresses the tax on success that plagues platforms like Patreon or even Substack, which takes a percentage.
It creates a true, non-extractive partnership model. By taking 0% on direct paid subscriptions, they remove that tax on the creator's audience relationship. They make their money by providing superior infrastructure and a world-class ad network, not by cannibalizing the creator's hard-earned recurring revenue.
It aligns their success directly with the sheer volume of successful scale publishers using their tools.
Exactly.
But let me push back a little on the Shopify analogy. Shopify is enormous and built an ecosystem that took decades. What risks does Beehiiv face by competing directly with established giants in so many different spheres? WordPress for websites, Patreon for recurring revenue, and Gumroad for selling digital products. Are they stretching their focus too thin?
That is a fair question, and the risk of stretching is real. However, their defense is integration and specialization. They are not trying to be a general website builder. They're building a website optimized only for media businesses run by newsletter creators.
Okay.
They aren't trying to host every transaction in the world. They are hosting the digital product sales directly tied to the newsletter audience. Their ambition is to create the single most optimized, lowest friction operating system for this specific type of business.
And that ambition was confirmed with a decisive leap in November 2025. This is when they stopped being just a newsletter platform and really declared themselves a full creator operating system, expanding their surface area dramatically.
That was the turning point. It included the strategic acquisition of SwapStack, which is a newsletter ad tech marketplace. That immediately enhanced their ability to serve their ad network and connect publishers with sponsors.
And more importantly, they expanded functionality into selling digital products, also with a 0% commission model.
Right, and podcast hosting and distribution and advanced automated workflow analytics. This expansion means they are now truly a full-stack offering. The AI-powered website building, following their acquisition of TypeDream, just cemented this position. Beehiiv is no longer just optimizing the email, it's optimizing the entire media business around that owned audience relationship.
And we should note their structural integrity. The company operates 100% remotely.
Yep, 109 team members across 12 countries, speaking 6 languages. It's a global structure built to serve a global creator class, without the physical constraints of a single corporate campus.
So the bottom line of this section is clear. Beehiiv identified the immense durable value of the owned audience, the email list, and built a modern integrated infrastructure platform for the professional creator.
And they address the specific pain points of cost, growth, and complexity that define the last generation of tools.
Okay, now let's shift gears to the near future and the inevitable AI wars that are defining the next era of content creation. Our sources outline that AI has become the creator's exoskeleton, amplifying human effort and output.
But Beehiiv and Substack are using it for completely divergent reasons. They reflect 2 fundamentally different philosophical worldviews about what the creator needs most.
This is the crux of the competition today, isn't it?
I think so. Beehiiv treats AI as a productivity engine. It's embedded directly into the act of writing, focusing on efficiency and high-fidelity output.
Whereas Substack treats AI as an amplification studio, it's primarily focused on multimedia distribution and reach after the content is created. They're solving 2 different problems.
Completely different problems.
Let's start with the Beehiiv AI philosophy. It is explicitly designed to remove the invisible tax of creation, all the friction, the procrastination, the context switching that slows down the writer and the editor.
That's why their AI is positioned as a silent co-pilot. It lives directly inside the editor interface. The goal is to eliminate that context switching. If you're writing, you can generate text, edit it, visualize it, and translate it without ever having to leave the publishing workflow.
So you don't have to open a new browser tab for ChatGPT or go to an external image generator. It's all right there.
It's all in one place. The flagship feature here is the AI Writing Assistant. It's designed to defeat the blank page, that paralyzing moment when you have an idea but you just lack the momentum to start.
We've all been there.
We all have. This assistant generates full drafts, individual sections, suggested headlines, summarized bullet points, or specific calls to action, all from a simple prompt. And the creator can define the tone.
Professional, casual, conversational, journalistic, witty.
And the length.
Yeah.
Short, medium, detailed. It's a tool for ideation and structure.
The reported savings are significant, and they directly address creator pain points. Publishers are reporting saving 2 to 3 hours per newsletter just by getting a concrete, high-quality starting point.
It's about momentum and acceleration. It's not about outsourcing the entire thinking process.
Yeah.
For experienced writers, it offers a fast first draft or a fresh perspective on a familiar topic. For new writers, it provides a confidence-boosting structure.
And for editorial teams, it's a speed multiplier, allowing them to publish more content without increasing headcount.
Right. But the Beehiiv AI doesn't stop at generating text. It's also laser focused on refinement, what they call the AI text tools. This is where it starts to feel like a dynamic writing partner. It turns editing into this non-destructive exploratory process.
What do you mean by that?
These tools are applied specifically to existing text, which reinforces the idea that the creator remains the editor-in-chief. You can highlight text and instantly autocomplete sentences, fix grammar, which is currently English only, change the length,
Shorten or extend a detailed paragraph.
or instantly alter the tone from formal to casual and back again.
So instead of copying a dense paragraph into an external tool like ChatGPT and asking it to simplify the prose, you just highlight the text right in the Beehiiv editor and tell it to, say, increase the Flesch-Kincaid readability score by 5 points while maintaining the core meaning, and that happens instantly.
That is the core capability. You can test multiple variations of a key paragraph or a subject line without ever manually rewriting it, much like adjusting a filter on a photograph. This results in tighter, more intentional prose and helps newsletters maintain a high quality even when they're rushed or published on a daily cadence.
And the visual element is key to modern high-engagement publishing. Beehiv's AI image tools address that persistent stock photo bottleneck.
Right. You can generate custom header images, section dividers, thumbnails, and featured visuals in seconds right in the editor. It eliminates the need to search stock libraries or pay for expensive graphic design tools.
And they give you highly customizable style options. Photorealistic, digital art, comic book, neon punk, 3D model, isometric.
Which helps you maintain visual consistency without needing external design tools.
And finally, a key feature for their global user base, the AI translator, which lowers the global barrier to entry.
Email is global, but language isn't. Beehiiv allows rapid localization by translating content directly in the editor into major languages like Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Portuguese. This opens doors to new, massive subscriber markets with almost zero additional operational cost or need for human translation review.
It's a massive market expansion tool. It sounds like a true full-stack productivity suite focused on getting quality content out faster and cheaper. But we have to note the operational constraint. AI access is paywalled on the scale and enterprise plans, and it's governed by daily usage limits.
That limit is strategically intentional. It encourages thoughtful, high-leverage use rather than mindless generation. The creator always remains the primary driver. The AI is the scalpel, not the whole hand. The value proposition is efficiency for the professional, not a free toy for the casual user.
Okay, now let's jump across the fence to Substack, where the AI philosophy is fundamentally different. They focus on the amplification studio, getting the existing content into more formats and more places.
The worldview is completely divergent. It's driven by Substack's focus on community and reach. Substack's AI enters the workflow after creation. It's focused heavily on accessibility and multimedia distribution. They're trying to help ideas travel further in more formats to more people who consume content differently.
And the clearest area where Substack pulls ahead and has invested heavily is in audio dominance.
Absolutely. Substack's AI narration text-to-speech, or TTS, converts English posts into narrated audio using synthetic voices instantly. This dramatically improves accessibility, especially for visually impaired readers.
And convenience for commuters, gym-goers, or multitaskers who prefer listening over reading. They're essentially turning every single essay into an instantly consumable podcast. It broadens the consumption footprint dramatically.
And their focus on transcription and video tools reinforces this multimedia view. Their AI generates clean, timestamped transcripts for podcasts and videos in about a minute, which is crucial for SEO and accessibility.
More impressively, it automatically creates short, shareable, 1-2-minute video clips and audiograms for social distribution.
And the data supports this focus on reach. Creators report that these AI-generated clips drive 2.5 times faster audience growth on social platforms. Substack is optimizing for the distribution loop, taking content out of the inbox and pushing it through the algorithmic megaphone for growth.
Okay, so contrast that directly with Beehiv's writing focus.
Substack offers no native AI for text generation or editing. The writing gap is critical. Our sources note that 78% of Substack publishers who use AI rely on external tools like ChatGPT for ideation, proofreading, or rewriting before they paste the final product into the Substack editor.
So the creation process often starts somewhere else entirely. It relies on external, often generic tools, whereas Beehiiv is engineered to be the starting point in the entire environment.
Yes. And Substack's AI image tool is simpler too. It's used primarily for post visuals and branding accents, producing multiple options per prompt, but it doesn't support the deep design and website integration that Beehiiv, through the Typedream acquisition, offers.
So Substack is focused on converting text into audio and video formats.
And Beehiiv is focused on converting thought into highly polished, scalable text and web presence.
So to summarize, who benefits most from each platform's AI philosophy?
Okay, so Beehiiv's AI is the productivity engine for text-heavy writers, growth-focused teams, and those building full media businesses who need integrated monetization and customizable websites.
And Substack's AI is best for podcasters, video creators, publishers focused on repurposing a long-form content, and accessibility-first publications, prioritizing amplification and community engagement outside the traditional inbox.
This suggests that the smartest creators, therefore, are adopting a hybrid workflow, maybe using Beehiiv for the efficiency of writing and growth infrastructure, and then using external tools or Substack's distribution advantages for community or multimedia amplification.
It's not about which is universally better, but which one makes their specific voice louder without making it less human.
And that leads to a critical question, doesn't it? In this race for efficiency, does relying on an AI co-pilot, even one designed to maintain your tone, risk eventually compromising that unique creator voice?
It's the ultimate paradox. The tool designed to accelerate your unique voice could, if you use it carelessly, dilute it into high-quality generic competence. The human must always remain the final strategic director, defining the boundaries and philosophy of the AI.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look forward because the current AI toolkit, impressive as it is, focused on efficiency and amplification, is just the beginning. Our sources outline a radical trajectory. AI is assistive today, helping us write and repurpose.
But by 2028, it will shift to a hyper-intelligent co-pilot. And by 2030, newsletters cease to be passive broadcasts. They become full conversational, agentic ecosystems.
We need to frame this shift correctly. Today's AI helps, but it doesn't decide. We have tools that accelerate writing, like Beehiiv's Assistant, or research assistants like Perplexity, which synthesize sourcing.
Right, and we have distribution intelligence from platforms like ActiveCampaign and InCharge, which can optimize send times. They are executing human instructions.
But the future is about moving from simple execution and efficiency to predictive autonomy. The AI starts making strategic decisions for the creator.
Exactly. By 2028, the AI will evolve from merely executing instructions to anticipating outcomes and adjusting strategy. This is the era of closed-loop intelligence, where the publishing system becomes a continuous, self-optimizing feedback loop.
Explain closed-loop intelligence in the context of a newsletter. What specific data is it collecting and analyzing that's fundamentally different from the open-click tracking we use today?
Okay, so today we analyze macro behavior. Did they open it? Did they click one link? By 2028, AI will analyze highly granular behavioral signals within the email itself. We're talking about things like open timing down to the second, scroll velocity, hover duration over specific sections or images.
Wait. Scroll velocity and hover duration. So the AI knows which specific sentences I paused on because they were confusing or fascinating, and which ones I just zipped right past. And how is that data technically tracked within the supposedly static email environment?
Precisely. This type of tracking relies on embedded tracking pixels and client-side scripts, usually tiny, non-invasive JavaScript snippets that fire events when the email is viewed in modern inboxes like Gmail or Apple Mail. They're listening for DOM events related to cursor position and scroll movement.
That is profound. It turns a static email into a real-time behavioral sensor. Give us a concrete example of how the AI would interpret that micro-behavior.
Okay, let's say a 5,000-word newsletter contains 5 distinct sections. If a subscriber opens the email and their scroll velocity slows dramatically on section 3 and their cursor hovers over a key technical term for 15 seconds, the AI logs that as a signal of high engagement and complexity absorption.
I see.
Conversely, if the subscriber opens the email and their cursor stays near the top for 30 seconds before scrolling rapidly past the ad block and the first 3 sections, that registers as high intent, low interest. Maybe they were looking for something specific or they're just confused.
And this continuous refinement feeds back immediately into future editions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the most powerful application is churn prediction. The AI will detect subtle behavioral signals of disengagement, like a 20% drop in scroll velocity on the main content section over 3 consecutive weeks.
Or a consistent failure to open when the content is focused on a previously high-interest topic.
Exactly. It detects disengagement before the subscriber opts out and automatically adjusts the content, the cadence, or the format to try to re-engage them. The newsletter becomes an adaptive, living experience.
This sounds like the absolute end of the one-size-fits-all newsletter. The 2028 vision is one newsletter, millions of editions.
Content creation will become massively personalized, and not just the subject line, but the entire body. AI will generate micro-editions tailored to individual readers based on their specific, granular behavioral history. It will adjust topics, prioritizing the financial analysis for the finance hawk.
It will adjust depth, simplifying the language for the casual reader.
It'll adjust tone and even dynamically place advertisements and sponsorships based on predictive reader intent.
So if I consistently click on the financial analysis section, my future editions might have that section prioritized or even contain deeper, more complex analysis than the version sent to someone who only ever clicks the lifestyle column. The AI essentially decides the optimal reading path for every single recipient.
That is the core capability, enabled by that closed-loop micro-tracking. Furthermore, predictive analytics will surface topics before they trend globally, helping the creator stay ahead of the curve.
And embedded conversational interfaces will allow readers to ask follow-up questions directly within the email.
Turning it into a two-way interactive channel, it bridges the gap between static text and community discussion.
Now let's push out to 2030, the ultimate vision. Newsletters cease to be static documents and become full conversational ecosystems. We move from co-pilot to full agentic autonomy.
By 2030, we are looking at intelligent conversational entities that adapt in real time. Instead of reading a static document, the subscriber interacts with an intelligent agent, a personalized AI companion that is the interface for the creator's knowledge base.
An email that essentially talks back to you and reasons with you.
Modular, interactive, and responsive content. Imagine opening the newsletter, and it immediately prompts you based on your needs. You've been struggling with Q3 inventory management. Would you like me to prioritize the supply chain analysis today?
Or something like, this analysis applies to your sector. Want this applied to your specific business model constraints.
Exactly. Embedded AI agents generating custom explanations or personalized frameworks on demand. That's a huge leap from today's static text. The knowledge becomes accessible not just as content, but as a personalized service.
And this leads to predictive creation.
Right. The AI will forecast audience needs based on global data, synthesizing trends, research, and past content, and then autonomously generate full issues. The human creators are no longer line-by-line producers, they are strategic directors.
Guiding the entire AI ecosystem, defining the voice, the ethical guardrails, the strategic direction.
So the static article effectively dies. It gives way to living, modular frameworks that readers can customize with their own goals or their own proprietary datasets. It turns a newsletter into a consulting service.
The inbox of the future won't be louder. It will be curated, conversational, and quietly brilliant. It'll eliminate all the noise and irrelevant information that plagues the standard inbox today.
And the final piece of the 2030 puzzle is the monetization infrastructure, which must also become intelligent to keep pace.
It becomes seamless and dynamic.
AI-orchestrated ads play strategically based on real-time reader intent, that hover duration data we talked about, agent-led purchasing of digital products directly within the email interface, embedded learning modules. It all coexists. The winners in this emerging Internet of Agents will be defined by tamper-resistant systems and user-governed data rights, making the intelligent inbox a primary hub for commerce, community, and education.
Trust and security will be paramount when the AI controls access to information.
It'll be everything.
What an incredible journey. We started with Ray Tomlinson's 1971 test message, which codified digital identity and followed the quiet, durable evolution of email to the 2025 renaissance, anchored by the immense financial and strategic value of the owned audience model.
And we identify the infrastructure layer built by Beehiiv, the Shopify for newsletters, that recognized this seismic shift and provided the professional tools, from unlimited sends to native referral programs and 0% commission models necessary to turn a newsletter into a profitable, scalable, and resilient media business.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The AI distinction. The competition between Beehiiv and Substack isn't just about features. It's about philosophical worldviews that determine the shape of content production.
That's right. Beehiiv is focused on amplifying authorship and productivity, accelerating the writing process.
While Substack is focused on amplifying reach and multimedia distribution, turning text into audio and video clips to travel further across social platforms. The strategic choice facing every creator is whether to prioritize efficiency in creation or breadth in distribution.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, who needs to gain knowledge quickly and thoroughly without being overwhelmed?
It means that in a digital world defined by noise, distraction, and algorithms that constantly dictate your reach, the most valuable digital asset you can cultivate or subscribe to is a direct, owned, high trust relationship.
And AI is the critical tool that makes scaling that relationship possible without losing the human voice or the sense of trust, provided the creator remains the ethical, strategic director.
The newsletter creator who builds an adaptive ecosystem based on durable infrastructure and deep reader signals will win, and the one who ignores AI will struggle to keep pace with the efficiency demands of the modern content market.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought.
If, by 2030, AI allows for a single newsletter to generate millions of hyper-personalized adaptive editions tailored to every individual reader's scroll velocity, hover duration, and past behavior optimizing content depth, tone, and monetization for them alone, what happens to the concept of shared cultural discourse?
When every single reader receives a perfectly optimized, unique version of reality, curated by an algorithm to maximize their retention and individual relevance in their inbox, does the platform succeed in amplifying the creator's voice, or does it risk fragmenting the audience beyond any shared recognition, conversation, or common ground?
That's the high-stakes consequence we must think about as the age of intelligent personalization matures.